Do you want to learn how to podcast, but don't know where to start? Then you've come to the right place. Cliff Ravenscraft, the podcast answer man, has helped hundreds of people just like you launch successful podcasts. Podcasting since December of 2005, Cliff made podcast production, consulting, and coaching his full-time career in January of 2008. Now you are invited to participate in Cliff's Podcasting from A to Z online group training course. Podcasting from A to Z is a 4-week training program that will equip you with everything you need to know to produce a podcast, a successful podcast. In fact, many of the students who have participated in previous Podcasting from A to Z sessions have had their first podcast episode available in iTunes, Zune, and the BlackBerry podcast directories by the end of the 3rd or 4th week of the course. Those who need a little more help with picking a niche topic, naming their podcast, or choosing the format of their show will get all the help they need. Here's how the course works. At the beginning of each week, you will be given an outline that will walk you through the new training materials available for that week. You'll find a sample of our weekly course outline in the text below this video. These training materials will be online and available for you to go through at a time that is most convenient for you. This means that the course materials actually work around your schedule rather than you trying to rearrange your schedule to fit the course. And you won't be alone. One of the benefits of this course is that this is a group study. You will be participating with a small group of others who are working towards the same goal of launching their podcast. So not only will you get answers to each question that you ask, but you'll also benefit from seeing the answers to the questions that other participants think to ask. Your interaction with Cliff and others within the course will happen within a discussion forum format where you can post every question you have along your journey. Cliff will personally respond to every question you ask during this 4-week course. Each week, Cliff will host a conference call to make sure the class is on the same page and to answer any lingering questions that may have arisen during the week's training materials. If you'd like to hear an example of one of these conference calls, just look for the link in the text below this video. The conference calls are held via GoToWebinar, where Cliff will share his screen with each of the students who are able to make it to the live call. This is perfect for answering questions that are better answered with a video demonstration rather than a written response. You do not have to be present during these live conference calls. If your schedule will not allow you to participate live, it's not a problem at all. All conference calls will be recorded, and those who are unable to attend will still have opportunity to submit their questions for Cliff to cover on the call ahead of time. Here's the deal. The participants of this group training study will get the help they need, regardless of what their own personal schedule looks like. In previous sessions of this online course, we've had people from 7 different time zones go through the course without a single scheduling issue. Here are some of the things that you'll learn as a participant in this Podcasting from A to Z program. The basics of podcasting, how it works, how to decide what topic to podcast about, how to identify your target audience, methods for finding your target audience, thoughts on naming your podcast, choosing the right domain name, the importance of your website as your home on the web, complete training on setting up WordPress for podcasting, setting up a hosting account for your website, installing WordPress, configuring the site for podcasting, adding an audio player to your site, how to submit your podcast to iTunes, Zune, and BlackBerry directories, how to put subscription links on your site, how to set up a podcast if you're using a free blogging service, guidance on the format of your podcast, the length of your podcast, the frequency of your podcast, solo or co-host discussions, interviews, live versus pre-recorded, choosing the right equipment for your podcast, how to start with as little as $35 in equipment, the best gear to get if you have the budget to do so, tips on how to start small and build up if you need to, equipment setup training, tips on recording your podcast, audio editing software training, training on how to manage the hosting of your MP3 files, complete production workflow. This will give you a complete step-by-step set of instructions that will make producing your podcast as easy as possible so that you can focus your energy on the content and your audience. You'll also learn training on how to promote your show, training on how to engage in relationships with your audience, tips on how to build a community around your podcast, training on methods for generating income from your podcasting efforts. So what is the value of the Podcasting from A to Z online training course? Well, many of Cliff's clients who want to start a podcast usually start the process by setting up 5 2-hour coaching sessions. At his current consulting rate, the total cost of these sessions would be $3,000. Now you can have access to the same information for much less. And the best part is most of the training provided during this course is done through very thorough video and audio tutorials that have been created over the past several years. The benefit of this is extraordinary, because rather than have Cliff share information with you one time in a live session and then expect you to remember it all from your own notes, Cliff has spent days, weeks, and months creating the tutorials that you can view over and over again as often as you like. One of our Podcasting from A to Z students wrote the following in an email. Here is a funny thing. I jot down questions that I want to post within the forum while I'm going through the material, and each and every time so far, you end up covering my question a bit further into the program. So I thank you for being so comprehensive. In the documentation below this video, you will see listed the total value of all the training materials that are included in this course. These values listed are not just random numbers that nobody really pays. These are the amounts that people have paid and continue to pay for these individual tutorials. If you were to purchase every single tutorial included in this course individually, you'd pay well over $1,000 and would not have the benefit of asking an unlimited number of questions for a total of 4 weeks. The class size for this course is limited. Only a small group of students are granted access for each 4-week session, and these spots do fill quickly. In this Podcasting from A to Z online training course from Cliff Ravenscraft, you will learn everything you need to know about how to podcast from A to Z. If you'd like to participate in the next class, just click the Buy Now button below. If you have any questions, you can contact Cliff. His email address is cliff@podcastanswerman.com. We look forward to seeing you in the next session of Podcasting from A to Z.